Rondale.
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 Rondale. Rondale. Nick's going streaking. Nick's going streaking.
Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, the draft show. Max Chadwick alongside PJ Clark, Tate Sigworth, and Nick Merriam, the final scouting report. And man, Nick has been begging for this one for all the time, and we're finally giving it to him to shut him up. Purdue wide receiver Rondale Moore going over his strengths, weaknesses, where he ranks for us on our boards, give player comps for him, and what NFL teams he might fit. Look at how big Nick's smile is right now. I love it.
He's
Before we start the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs soon. Of course, be sure to follow our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Boom or Bust Draft. YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. We have a website where we have mock drafts, in-depth articles, as well as some other draft-related topics. And we're doing a podcast every week from now on, and we'll do a mailbag segment. So please comment below with questions or add us in Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. Reply on our podcast or email us at boomerbustdraft@gmail.com. So let's go over Rondale Moore, number 8 on the official Boomer Bust Big Board 1.0, and number 2 receiver. That will be updated soon. It seems high right now.
No, that's staying. No, that's staying.
Staying? Okay. Well, he might move down in 2.0. We'll see. He's a junior, 5'9", 181 pounds, former 4-star recruit, number 229 overall, and number 41 receiver in 2018 coming out of Kentucky. He was absolutely dominant as a true freshman in 2018. He won the Paul Hornung Award as the nation's most versatile player, first true freshman consensus All-American in Big Ten history. He broke the Purdue record with 2,215 all-purpose yards in one season, had 114 catches for 1,258 yards, 12 touchdowns, and had 213 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. But since then, he's only played in 7 games, in the past 2 years due to injury. Overall, 178 catches for 1,915 yards, 14 touchdowns, and had 248 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. So, Nick, let's start with you. When you watch Rondale Moore, what do you like, man?
Well, first of all, the Rondale brand was too strong. Like, they just couldn't deny us a Rondale video at this point. Like, it just had to happen. For my money, maybe outside of Kadarius Toney, he's great too. Highest ceiling as an athlete at wide receiver in this draft, I think. Yes, he is smaller, but he's kind of condensed in that he's not tall. He's a guy who can get under you with his pad level. So he's kind of a guy who can overpower you with the ball after the catch. He's a guy who can run past you, runs a 4.3. He can also juke you. He's shifty. You don't really see that trifecta in terms of yak all the time where you can run over you, run past you, or juke you. There are some concerns, of course, but what we've seen in terms of route running, in terms of out routes, slants, and the little stuff that they've done, including some go routes, limited sample size, but he's done well in that. He's been very productive in when he's playing, doing the limited stuff that Purdue's offense has had him do. He's the type of guy that in the right offense, I think, move him around a lot, gadget player, guy you can hand the ball off to, get him in space. He's a game-breaking type receiver who can get you these 80-yard chunk plays that can win you games effectively, kind of like a Deshaun Jackson or a Steve Smith or something like that.
I mean, I'll go off of that. I think he is just, Nick said it in his last little part. He's a game breaker. That's what he's going to be. I think he's pretty much a gadget player, a little more than Kadarius Toney, who are going to be the two, athletic wide receivers, as Nick said. I think Kadarius can do more as an actual wide receiver. But Rondale, let's get the ball in his hands and let good things happen. He's going to be able to rush. He's going to be able to rush the ball. He's going to be able to run those little dinky drag routes and carry him for 80-yard touchdowns. And I think he's going to be a hell of a kick and punt returner, which matters. And you're getting value on special teams immediately as a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, he's a dynamic athlete. You two mentioned it. Yak King, 89% of his yards this year came after the catch, which is number 1 of the 32 wide receivers I've compiled so far in this draft class. He was also above average in yak percentage 2 in 2019. And then I'll add something different on his age. He's only going to be 20 by draft day.
Wow.
That's fun. We like that, which means as a true freshman, Vietnam flashbacks against my Ohio State. he was torching them at like 18. So a lot of things to like, but as we're going to talk about, there's some things to dislike too.
Yeah, I mean, he was a human pinball machine as coming out of high school as a true freshman. 37 broken tackles on 114 catches in 2018. That's 4 more than any Power 5 receiver since 2014, and second most only behind Carlos Henderson from Louisiana Tech in 2016. Again, true freshman mere months after his senior prom. Ridiculous athlete. Reportedly ran a 4.33 40 in high school. He also had a 42-inch vertical, which is 7 inches higher than the average receiver. And before his freshman season, he squatted 600 pounds, which is more than 3 times his body weight. So this guy is a freak athlete, and good luck tackling him because he is really, really good at breaking tackles. Tate, what do you think Rondale Moore's weaknesses are, though?
Injuries, folks. That's the big one. He's played 7 games in 2 years, so we're drafting a guy based off 2018 tape, which is concerning, to say the least. This year especially, Purdue was pretty silent on why he wasn't playing in the first few Purdue games, which is pretty weird and really concerning. So the medicals that he has leading up to the draft are going to be extremely important. Size also, undersized, 5'9", 170. I mean, I know it's kind of comes with the 180, fine. It comes with the type of player he is, which is 5 inches smaller and 25 pounds lighter than the average wide receiver. And then also the route tree on film, I think all of us agree, we think he can do like all of the routes really well, but we just aren't sure because the Purdue quarterback situation is so dire. He only averaged 7.7 yards per reception, which is below average. So there's some things to talk about Rondale on this side.
Yeah, there's things to talk about. You talked about all of them.
Yeah, sorry to steal all the thunder, guys.
The thing I was going to really hit was the route tree. We've only seen him do little like dinky out routes and things over the middle. And like, I have the utmost confidence that this dude can burn people downfield. We just haven't seen it. There's not a lot of tape on like an NFL route tree. I know he can do like 2 or 3 things, and I'm projecting that he'll be able to do the rest of it, but it's not there. We haven't seen it happen. And then, as you said, I think I'm more concerned with the injury stuff this year. He initially opted out and was opted out until really late after the Big Ten announced that they were coming back. He was still opted out and then just decided like randomly at the end of September, like, oh, I'm coming back now. And then just like went MIA for like didn't even practice. Nobody knew anything. And then showed up one night on like a Friday and was like, yeah, I'm going to play now. So nobody knows what happened. And that's mildly concerning to me.
I'm a little less concerned about the injuries thing this year just because pandemic. It could have been numerous things going on. We don't really know what happened. We assume injuries, but we don't know for certain. It is a concern, obviously, and obviously the route tree thing is a concern. I think a lot of this boils down to what Purdue was doing with him offensively. They'd say, run an out route and we'll just force the ball to you, or run a curl route, or run a bubble screen and we'll just get it to you in space. And they didn't have quarterbacks who could make the decision fast enough or throw the ball with enough speed to get it to him so he would have space. So there were a lot of plays where he'd catch it just getting tackled, which destroyed his yards per catch, I think. There's a limited sample size his first year with routes deep down the sidelines or outside the hash marks. It's about 6 throws, but on those throws, he was very productive. That doesn't really translate a ton, but we've seen at least a couple times him burn guys downfield. He has that speed. I think it's a projection, but if he were in an offense, let's say if he actually accepted his ability to go to Alabama instead of choosing Purdue as a school, they definitely would have used his speed a lot more. And I think
if he went to Alabama, he's like Devontae Smith.
Yeah, like
that's just how this would work.
But it's going to be offense dependent. You have to use him in as many different ways as possible, and not just be throwing in bubble screens over and over the way Purdue did.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think it's very scheme dependent. You need a creative offensive coordinator or play caller or whatever. Hit on at the injuries. He's missed all but 4 games last year with a hamstring injury. Missed the first 4 games this year with an undisclosed injury. For a receiver who has smaller stature and who relies so heavily on its explosiveness, the fact that he only played 7 games out of a possible 18 the last 2 years, certainly concerning. Her hamstring injuries also, they can linger too. So this could be something that affects him throughout his career. He's undersized. You guys hit it, 5'9", 180 pounds. At the 5'9", 180, doesn't have to add weight. It's just the fact that he's undersized at 5'9". Basically slot only. He's only played 11% of his career offensive snaps outside per Pro Football Focus. With offenses becoming more and more spread out, slot receivers become more and more valuable. However, the fact that he's never really produced on the outside doesn't seem to have the tools. Maybe you could push him down some boards. And here's a stat I came up with. So 78% of Rondale Moore's career targets came within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Jamar Chase, listen about this, because Jamar Chase 47%, Devontae Smith 49%, Jalen Waddle 51%, Rashad Bateman 42%. David Bell, another Purdue receiver, still had 57%. All I'm saying is you could blame Purdue.
It's route selection.
But also, David Bell was producing downfield too. So I will, and also on the targets he had 10 plus yards downfield, he only caught 29% of his targets past 10 yards. David Bell caught
7
Hold Nick back. Hold him back.
So I'm just saying, you can blame the Purdue offense all you want, but also David Bell in that offense was producing downfield. So Rondale Moore does not win downfield. PJ, give me the bottom line on him though. Where does he rank for you, player comp and team fits?
Yeah, okay. So he's still in the first round. Like, I don't think there are 32 better players than Rondale Moore in this class. So I have him at 30 right now. I think he's going to stay in like the 28 to 32 range. I don't think there are 32 better guys. I don't know if he goes in the first round. In fact, I'd be pretty surprised if he did. But he's my wide receiver 6 right now, behind Chase, Waddle, Bateman, Smith, and Tony. And I don't think he's better than any of those guys. So I think he's going to stay pretty firm at 6. As far as team fits, I think Kansas City and Green Bay. Kadarius has outplayed, frankly, those two spots. I expect him to go higher than 31 and 32, but I don't expect Rondale to. And I think he would be great in either of those offenses. Player comp, throwing it back really, really far to a guy from our childhood. I'm going to Eddie Royal. Punt returner, slot guy for the Chargers and Denver, who had a great rookie year, was a great kick returner his rookie year, kind of fell off the map after that. But I think he was a versatile guy. The Denver at least used him as a running back as well. So kind of a dynamic, shorter Eddie Royal, also 5'9" slot guy.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I kind of agree with PJ on a lot of what he just said. I think he's number 32 on my latest updated board. Still movement happening there. So end of the first, kind of mid, early second, somewhere in that range. Wide receiver 6 behind the same group of wide receivers. Team fit. I like the Chiefs. End of the first round teams that need, a creative, dynamic playmaker like Rondale. That's
like
kind of the fit.
Baltimore.
Yeah. And then my comp, I don't want credit for this, not original idea. Got it from Kyle Krabs from the Draft Network, but I'm going Laviska Shenault from last year's draft.
Max, you gonna take that?
Laviska taller. I like both of them.
Laviska is taller, but they're both, yak dynamic guys, and they both had injury concerns, which are gonna probably jump them out of the first round. They both could, on talent alone, go in the first round, but I think they're gonna. Laviska did go in the second round, and I think that's where Rondale ends up.
I just want to say I'm not shaking my head at Tate. I just didn't like the way Kyle Krabs described that comp, because he basically implied that Laviska Shenault was bad, and he's not. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
And should be even better with Trevor Lawrence next year. And quickly to refute Max from before, when you're running 3 go routes a game, you're not going to get deep targets. So that's part of that.
But David Bell's doing it, is what I'm saying.
Because they're calling him for go routes.
I understand. I'm just
the battle of Nick versus the Purdue offensive coordinator has been fought for ages.
It's consistent.
And this is just where we're at.
I knew I was asking for trouble when I defended Purdue a little bit. So I know.
I'm begging the Chiefs or Packers the first to take him, because that is one of those teams is just a fantastic spot for him to land. Both of them will use him exactly the way they need him to. And of course, with those QBs, he's going to produce. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if he falls out of the first. Honestly, another place, if he were to fall into the 50s, maybe they trade up a tiny bit to get him. The Rams, I think, would be a great spot. Love to hand the ball off to their wide receivers. I think that'd make a spot for him to go San Francisco. Hey, if Washington pulled the trigger at 19, I wouldn't complain, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
We know you wouldn't.
Would you really not complain? Really?
I wouldn't complain. No.
Okay.
Well, I think, so they really emphasize guys who can play multiple positions in Washington, and he's kind of a fit to what they do offensively. So I wouldn't complain. I got him number 24.
Might be on an island by yourself there.
Well, they want linebacker. Washington fans want linebackers, and that's whatever. The Rams number one defense tried out Micah Kaiser and DJ Reader for 16 games. I don't care about linebackers.
Where's he ranked?
Okay, please go.
They got a number 24 overall. It's obviously higher than you guys. They're realizing that he will go lower than that. He's my number 6 wide receiver. I'm positionally, I have wide receivers higher, so he's going to be higher on my board. And comp, fun one. Jerry Tuwai, scrum half, Fiji 7. Good luck finding highlights for him, PJ.
Oh, he just gave a rugby player.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Rugby reference in a Rondale video.
I mean, like, I'm
right
kind of cool with it. It's out of left field, but I'm in.
I don't know what his measurables are in terms of size, but he's a similar type of guy where he's faster, he's a powerful guy. They call him the magician. Great footwork, jukes guys all the time, versatile player. Guy, I've never seen a guy his size run over.
You can say whatever the hell you want right here.
Yeah, you can say anything, and I'm going to believe you. I'm going to believe you.
Well, if you watch Sevens, which is probably, there's got to be somebody who watches our show who watches rugby, right? There's got to be one person.
Yeah,
they will appreciate that compliment.
Yeah, you.
I don't watch this show.
President of the Cuse Rugby Club. All right, fair. Listen, is that it? Is that all you got? I want to make sure you're all tapped out of Rondale.
Good.
You know
this is your dream come true. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Great.
All right, cool. Next up, Tylen Wallace scouting report. By the way, if you could promise me a healthier Rondale Moore, we're talking about like a top 10 to 15 talent, and that's why we had him number 8 on the board. But because of the injury history, combined with his smaller stature and how much he relies on explosiveness, end of the first round for me. Currently number 32 overall. I kind of agree with Nick. Get that 5th-year option, man, because this guy could really be a superstar that goes lower. Number 7 wide receiver, the same 5 I think that you guys had, and then obviously Tylen Wallace, my king.
Mm-hmm.
Team fit,
obviously,
my guy. Team fit, Packers. You guys hit on it. The Packers would do damage with Rondale Moore. He'd be such a fun weapon in that offense. Player comp, again, another legend as a player comp. I'm not saying he's going to be as good. Not saying he's as good.
That's what's happening.
But my God, I mean,
nice.
He's Steve Smith. He's Steve Smith, 5'9", also an explosive pinball machine. Steve Smith broke every tackle. Steve Smith ran a 4.39 40. Rondale's gonna run in the 4.3s too, probably if there was a combine. If Rondale can stay healthy, he could be a lot like Steve Smith for a team. And obviously, I know Steve Smith 8th all-time in career receiving yards, but I'm saying Rondale Moore plays a lot like Steve Smith. Not saying he's gonna be a top 10 receiver ever. Just saying he plays a lot like him.
Rondale Moore is a Hall of Famer. End quote. Max Chadwick.
Okay,
that didn't even come from Nick. That came from him.
Yeah.
I know. I'm saying he plays like him. Not that he will be him, that he plays like him. All right. That's who we got on Nick's King, Rondale Moore. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think about Rondale Moore. Where does he rank in this wide receiver class for you? Would you still take him in the first round? And comment any video that you might want to see us do next. Any questions you have for our mailbag, and please follow our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at BoomerBustDraft, and leave a review in our podcast, and check out the website below. So for PJ Clark, Tate Sigworth, and Nick Merriam, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.